So, after taking 24 hours and really sitting there and stewing on the Liam Eichenberg re-signing, I've come to the conclusion that it's still a really bad idea. What is up, Finn fans? We got a move today. I titled the video, the Miami Dolphins did sign someone today. They also made somewhat of another signing in the front office. So we're going to talk about those two things right flipping now. Normally I'm like, in today's sponsor, but you guys hate sponsorship. You guys want me to go broke. Just kidding. Don't yell at me in the comments, please. I'm very fragile right now. Liam Eichenberg is just really getting to me. The Dolphins have signed tight end Pharaoh Brown, 1-year deal from Seattle. Bear Jackson here says he can compete with Julian Hill for inline blocking snaps. That seems to be the consensus about Pharaoh Brown. He's a Julian Hill type. I honestly think that they replaced Durham Smythe with Pharaoh Brown. That's kind of the thought process I have with him, and kind of the player he is when it comes to tight end. He's a very good inline blocker, and also can get out into coverage and make some catches and stiff arm the crap out of some people. So there's that as well. A lot of these signings are just very But the other thing that also happened today is former Raiders assistant GM Champ Kelly was interviewed for multiple GM jobs across the league in recent years, has joined the Dolphins as a senior personnel executive working in both pro and college scouting. Now, a lot of people are perking up eyebrows and saying, this is interesting. Now, you also have to realize, because a lot of people are like, hey, is this Chris Grier's replacement? Being that he interviewed for multiple GM jobs, is this a guy who, things go sideways, they fire Chris Grier, boom, Champ Kelly is going to be our new GM. That would make zero sense, because you know who hired Champ Kelly? Chris Grier. Chris Grier hires his own assistant GM. Stephen Ross doesn't hire the assistant GM. Chris Grier hires him. So Chris Grier did not hire his replacement. But hey, you never know. He might have sealed his own fate when it comes to the hiring. But I do want to talk about something real quick. First off, give you a little update on the schedule. Tomorrow, I'm going to make a video kind of looking at the best free agents still available. And then Monday, I'm going to grade the free agency period. As of right now, it's not good. I think D is failing. I think I have the Dolphins barely passing. What I'm going to do is we're going to look at who came in and who left so far the first week of free agency and see if they got better or worse. And then I'm going to grade them and, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do all that stuff for the next 2 days. But something that I've noticed, and I tweeted it out, and Omar Kelly put out this tweet, which for one made me laugh. And two, he said, you see here, veteran defensive tackle Jeremiah Ledbetter is signing a 1-year deal, this amount for the Giants, max over $2 million with incentives. And Omar Kelly says, D-line getting gobbled up. Dolphins have 2 on the roster right now. And I proceeded to say, F that, yet they added Liam Eichenberg. And I keep bringing this up, and I just don't understand the thought process of Chris Grier. Now, it could be Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, but obviously Chris Grier is the GM. And it's not making any sense to me because, like I said, the Dolphins have 2, Omar said it, and I agree, I've been saying it, the Dolphins have 2 defensive linemen on the roster, 1 starter in Zach Sealer. And I get that this draft is deep with defensive tackles. I get that. But you're not going to go out and draft 4 to 5 defensive tackles when you only have 10 draft picks. And yes, we had 11, but they took our 7th away that we would have gotten for Cedric Wilson Jr. Because we retroacted his contract, I think. Yeah, we did something to his contract, so we didn't get that 7th, and they messed up, so they took it away. So we only have 10 because we have 2 7ths. You're not going to draft 4 starting or 2 starters and 2 rotational depth defensive linemen in this draft. The Dolphins need defensive linemen. They also need another guard. They have, if it's Borum and Liam Eichenberg competing for that left guard spot, we're screwed. And you can say, well, Doug, they're going to draft a guard. And this is where they broke me. The Dolphins broke me. I'm still optimistic to an extent. I'm still trying my best to give you a fair and unbiased take on what the Dolphins are doing. Like I told you, the James Daniels, I was going to say Daniel Jones, the James Daniels signing, I love. Westbrook signing, I like the Ashton Davis signing. There were some signings that I really did like, and I think they're good depth pieces. But they're not doing enough. And after the season ended and they retained their jobs, they came out and they said, it wasn't good enough, and we're going to do better, and we're going to focus on the trenches, and we're going to double dip on the offensive line in free agency and the draft. I'm not seeing any of that. They signed 1 starting offensive lineman. And again, if you're like, well, Liam Eichenberg, and if you consider Liam Eichenberg an starting offensive lineman, then they failed, because he was on the team last year. And we saw this man get blown off of blocks, getting pushed 2 yards back. Like, just imagine you're a quarterback and you go into a 3-step drop, and technically you're only going into a 1-step drop because your right guard is pushed into you. Like, just imagine that. Snap, you're going 1, 2, 3. But as you're going 1, pushed back, 2, pushed back, 3, you have about a yard. Like, it's, how are you supposed to do anything? And then you're forced to 1, 2, 3 step over because your right guard is getting dominated. And then where's your progression go? Like, these are the things that it just doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, we'll get the ball out quick. That's going to be the narrative again. And it's like, last year, the play on the field wasn't good enough. And I don't want you to think status quo is good enough, is what Stephen Ross said. Nothing has changed. And I know I'm going to get Doug. It's the first week of free agency. Relax. And then I'm going to get Doug. It's April. The draft just ended. Relax. There's going to be free agents after the draft. And then I'm going to get Doug. It's May. Relax. Doug, it's training camp. Relax. And then it's going to be week 10. And all of a sudden, everyone's going to be complaining how bad the trenches are and how the offensive line is garbage and we have no run game and Tua has no time, or Tua's getting sacked, or we're having to get the ball out quick and da-da-da. And I'm going to be like, I said this. I'm getting deja vu because I said this last year. Exactly. To a T. Like, we bring in Isaiah Wynn. I'm ecstatic, but he's injured. He might not start. All right, cool. Robert Jones is back. Cool. It's like our starting offensive line they bring in Jack Driscoll, then they cut him when he was actually doing the best out of all of them. They brought in these rotational offensive linemen, give Liam a chance, which I did last year. And it was just, Aaron Brewer wasn't even ready for training camp. It's like, you're going to sit here and tell us the reason why 2023 derailed was injuries to the offensive line, which is not wrong. Yet you bring in injured players. Yet you bring in not good enough players. Yet you're depending on your track history with drafting offensive linemen and hoping they are day 1 starters. I'm just, they broke me, and I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. And there's nothing to be optimistic about, and there's nothing to look forward to. You know what I'm saying? And I hope I'm wrong, man. Come out and shut me up like I did with Austin Jackson. When Austin Jackson played well and he got his contract extension and I was happy about it, I came on here, I ate my crow. I said, good for you, Austin Jackson. You got better than you did your freshman year and your sophomore year, and you showed you deserve that contract extension. Good for you. as of me right now, sitting here on March 14th, this team is not good enough, man. You're looking at teams sign players. Cooper Kupp is now with Seattle. You have all these offensive linemen going to all these different teams. And don't get me wrong, there's teams out there that are doing head-scratching things. 49ers are in a full rebuild. You have the Cincinnati Bengals trying to sign Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at the same time. And how are you going to add anything else? And it's just, there are teams out there that are doing the same thing as the Dolphins, just head-scratching. But if you want to compete with the best and you want to do something and you want to save your job, Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, you're just not doing enough. What about the money? You can add money. Give Sealer a contract extension. He deserves it. All of a sudden, his like $11-12 million cap hit will go down. You get cap space. Aaron Brewer, give him a contract extension. He deserved it from his play last year. His like $8 or $9 million cap hit will go down. Jordan Brooks, give him a contract extension. He deserved it from his play last year. His cap hit will go down, and you get yourself some cap space. You don't even have to touch Tua's contract. Those three guys deserve contract extensions. But again, it's a situation where Chris Greer is going to sit on his hands and they're going to play even better this year and want more money and then walk. You got to get ahead of it, man. And he just doesn't. And this is why he should not have been retained. But who am I? I'm just some guy in Jersey who don't know nothing about nothing. Comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think of the new signing of the tight end. Let me know what you think of the new assistant brought in, the assistant GM. Comment below. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to look at the best available still. There's still some good guys out there. Mike Hilton, I'd love to add him or Asante Samuel at corner. There's still, Daniel Brunskill and Brandon Scherf are still out there at guard. You got edge rushers that are still out there. Defensive tackle, there's like none out there. That's why the Dolphins are kind of screwed in that situation. But there's still guys out there. I'm going to put a whole list together. I got that for you guys tomorrow. I might take Sunday to breathe. And unless news breaks. Like if something happens, obviously I'm going to make a video. Then Monday we're going to grade it. And then we're going to start talking draft soon. So it's going to be fun. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. And again, unless news breaks later tonight. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.